So that was like two sessions that were like a breath of fresh air. But like coming back to the core theme of the conference, which is reinventing project management in an era of disruptive change, we're going to have a short freewheeling chat with VSR, as he's popularly known in the PMI circles. V. Srinivasa Rao, who is currently the chief, the chief digital consultant at BT and BT. I invite him on stage, please, before I introduce the concept of the chat today evening. So VSR is very well known to all of you here. He's the CEO of a startup company, BT and BT, Better Today and Better Tomorrow. It's a business and technology solutions company which works with organizations for the futuristic digital world that we are all heading towards. He's worked in companies like TCS, Infosys, SAP, Oracle, iGate, Satyam, and Tech Mahindra. He's identified as one of the game changers at Tech Mahindra, and he's responsible in a large manner for Satyam's turnaround story. So he's also received the Community Transformation Award from PMI USA, and he's currently the president of the Next Gen Leaders. We're glad to have VSR with us today to bring this amazing conference to a close. So looking forward to the chat. Now, VSR, thank you for being here today. Now, just to introduce the theme of this chat, so we have seen major revolutions, right? Humanity, we have seen major revolutions right from the industrial revolutions in the 1800s to the digital revolution that all of us are in the midst of. Now, these revolutions continue to shape everything about the world that we live in today. So the first revolution, mechanized production. The second one used electric power to create mass production. The third revolution used electronics and information technology to automate production. Now, this revolution not only impacted the traditional industries like manufacturing and construction, but it also brought along the new revolution, the services revolution that all of us here are familiar with and that India actually led and thrived in. Now a fourth revolution is upon us, the digital revolution. You would have heard this everywhere over the course of this conference, at your offices. Every company is putting together a digital strategy to embrace itself for the next upcoming 10 years. So right now, we don't know, like we've heard over the conference, what are the new business models that are going to take place across industries, what are the skills that we need, how can we equip ourselves to cope with all the changes that are happening. So VSR today is a leader who's very well versed with these changes, and he's going to help us make sense of all that's happening around us. So to my first question, VSR, so all of us keep hearing enough about this digital world everywhere, and there is bots and chatbots and IoT and virtual reality. It's just mind-boggling at some stage. Could you give us some very tangible, day-to-day examples of how our life would change because of this digital shift?
Okay, thank you. I think the project management always starts with unexpected change, right? Yes or no? Yes. So I thought there will be 2 chairs here and 1 teapot and 2 water bottles. So I didn't find it. So I have to start with, I think, a different expectation, right?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, chair is coming. Very good.
That's
Don't worry. I just made a comment. Don't worry. Okay. I think long introduction. Thank you so much. When people talk about digital, there's a different meanings and understandings, right? How many people feel in your organization you have a common understanding of digital? Starting from your CEO, business unit heads, or other business executives or technology executives. Do you believe there is a common understanding about digital? How many people heard about digital? I'm sure everybody, right? And it is costing most of the jobs today, right? So I think there is a news item, 6 lakh jobs will be lost in IT industry in the next 3-4 years. And in the manufacturing industry and other industries also looking at how the digital is going to impact. Okay. Here, one example I'll give you. Can you give life to a thing? Can you give life to a thing? What is a thing? It could be a chair, it could be a bed sheet, what else? It could be a car. Yes or no? Is it possible to give life to a thing? No, right? That's where you are saying. But today in this digital era, we are going to give life to a thing. What does it mean? As a human being, you can sense, right? You can think, you can communicate, and you can also predict to some extent. If you give all these characteristics to a thing, don't you think you are giving some life to a particular thing? Yes or no? So how I can give sense to a thing? How a plant can say, my dear friend, the water level is very low, please come and pour the water. There are sensors today. Innumerable number of sensors are coming to sense, right? And there is a software which you are able to inject into a thing, whether you call it as an electronic circuit or embedded software or a chip, whatever it is. There is some software you are able to inject into a table, into a car, into a bed sheet, even into a baby diaper. I'll tell you one example, right? That means it is able to sense, it is able to think. I'm sure now a lot of changes happening in the networks today, right? You are talking about 4G and 5G, you are talking about by 2020, and short range transportation and all. So now they are able to communicate. Do you know how many things will get connected to internet by 2020 as per Cisco? 50 billion things. By that time, the population will be only 9.5 billion. That means you have 41 billion things get connected to internet. That means they got the life. And because the communication, broadband and everything got improved and getting improved, right? And finally, I'm sure you're all hearing, and by this time you got bored also, you're talking about analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning and all. Now you have the data, and you can also use that data, the patterns and all, you can also predict, right? That means the thing is also able to predict when I am going to fail. Let me give you one example. In US, one of the trains, they put every 20 miles at the track, adjacent to the track, some sensors. One is a noise sensor, and then you have microphone, and there is infrared sensor that is called a photo to take the photographs and all. What it will do? When the train is going every 20 miles, there is a wheel, right? And for that wheel, it takes the photograph and see the curvature of that wheel. And what is the temperature getting emitted from that wheel? There is a temperature sensor. What is the noise coming from the bearings? There is a microphone, right? All this data is going through a wired network. They don't have wireless at the time, to a central system where they have 40 million patterns they identified. That's where analytics, right? And if any of the patterns map to the actual data, what is the temperature, what is the curvature, what is the noise it is coming from the bearings and all, if this actual data maps to any of the patterns there in the central database, then the train is going to derail. That means you are able to predict what is going to happen to the train, right? So this is called you are giving a life. So with this, what is going to happen, just to conclude, in the digital world, people to people are started communicating. Maybe I think few hundred years back, when you want to communicate, there is only a ship. Maybe 3 months, 2 months, if you want to get some letter from Europe or US, right? But now you see the telepresence, video conferencing, Skype, Google Hangouts, right? And WhatsApp, within fraction of seconds, people are getting communicated. But that's not enough. When I said you are giving life to the thing, that means you are going to work with things like your team members. Tomorrow there is no surprise. A thing is your boss. You need to compete with thing. Your human workforce tomorrow will be things. And you have to work with so many things, right? So people to people to things, and things to things, when they communicate in real time, that is called a digital world. And we are living in that world. It's clear?
Wow, that's actually scary to imagine that I'll have a humanoid as my boss in the future.
Yes, of course. Your enemy also will be humanoid. So.
Yeah. So with all this smart technology that's coming up and quickly, fastly replacing so many things that we humans do, what can we do to cope up, right? What skills can we pick up? Does project management, will it still be relevant in the future, in this digital people with things interactive world?
I think the most important thing, the frameworks may not change, right? When you talk about project management, whether you call a PMBOK or anything, okay, the frameworks will be same, but the context will change. First, we need to understand what are the different types of projects will emerge in this people-to-people, people-to-things, and things-to-things connected world. Do you have an idea? Whether it is an IT industry or a manufacturing industry or a construction industry, it doesn't matter. So we need to first have a clarity on what are the new types of projects emerging.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah. So I think larger projects, longer timelines are quickly becoming smaller, agile teams. Could you throw more light on that and elaborate?
Yeah, that probably happening mostly in IT industry, but I would like to give one point before we getting into that. So you please understand that when we say digital, still there is a misconception that the digital is probably applicable for technology industry. It's not like that. Today the board of directors, the chief executive officers, the business heads of non-IT industry, whether it is retail, banking, manufacturing, healthcare, they're all worrying what is going to happen when, in my context of the business, when things are becoming more intelligent, if I am able to give the life to the things, if it is a medical device, for example, there is a life I give to the medical device. It is telling me, okay, what is the blood pressure and the glucose and all, right? And the car is becoming very intelligent, it is driving itself, right? Or in the construction industry, if you look at, there are smart buildings. Agree? Smart cities, smart roads, smart traffic system means what? You are giving life to some traffic light, or you are giving life to a display board, right? All these things are happening. Then what people are worried is technology in the past was limiting to CIOs and CTOs. Okay, there is bunch of applications are there, and a big, huge data center is there. My dear friends, the metrics what CTO, CIO worried is 99.99% uptime, and the software is basically stable. No, it's not like that. So there is one company which manufactured a diaper having software. The diaper has the software, the baby diaper. It has all the characteristics what I said, giving life to the diaper, right? Then mom sitting at the office can see if really baby was not well, what is that fever, what is that glucose level, what is that blood pressure and all. At office she can see that. If I am the CEO of the company who manufactured the diaper, and if my competitor already started a diaper which is digital, do you think I will survive in the next 3-4 years? I will not survive, right? So the most important aspect I would like to emphasize here is all the projects, and that's where I mean, a few months back I tweeted something like, we are living in a world, it is a software-defined lives, software-defined wives, and software-defined husbands, software-defined cars, software-defined diapers, software-defined bed sheets, and everything will be injected with software, whether you like or not. If you want to be cynical, you will be out of this complete digital era. Maybe it is the next 5 to 10 years' time. Every product is going to be injected with software. It doesn't matter what it is. A plant will be injected with software. With that situation, when I say the projects, for example, if I am the head of the manufacturing company and I want to manufacture a car, do you imagine any project without technology? That means what? The project managers who doesn't understand the technology implications of that particular project, because your 30% of the, how many lines of code is there in a car? Can you imagine today? A Chevy car has 1 crore lines of code. You injected software. Every product you are injecting software. I am a product engineer, I am a designer, I am a project manager for an automotive product. I don't have any understanding of the implications of the technology, how my product is changing. Then I am going to fail, right? I didn't understand the life cycle of that project. Just to summarize, when I say new projects are emerging, whether it is a smart building, whether it is a diaper I talk about, whether it is a car, the activities will change. The life cycles will change. The life cycles will not be the way what we have been doing for many decades, because these are all new projects. I am sure you agree. When we did a project in mainframe or client server versus when you are developing a project in virtual reality and augmented reality, do you think there are same activities? No, right? That means the activities, the phases are changing. The project life cycles will get impacted tremendously. If I don't understand the life cycle of a particular project in my industry, whether it is a construction, if I am building a smart building, certainly there are so many new activities I have to add, right? The mechanical, the electrical, and there are a lot of electronic pieces are coming into my smart kitchen, smart home, right? A wireless switches, so on and so forth. If a project manager of that construction industry doesn't understand what all these new activities I have to take care, then what new activities are getting added which I never did in my lifetime, then I'll be in trouble.
Yes, sir,
At speed point of view,
yeah.
yes. But it's not real for all industries.
Okay.
So much of automation is happening that I'll talk probably at the end.
Yeah. So actually, when you vividly explained how much technology has brought in a change to our lives, I was just thinking, it's not just the project managers who are getting affected, it's also consumers, right? That the behavior has significantly changed. Technology has changed the way we interact with each other. So for project managers especially, what their customers want from them, what they expect is something drastically different. So could you give us, throw some light on how consumer behavior has changed and how can industries balance this standardization versus hyper-personalization that everybody seems to expect today?
Okay. Consumer, I think it's now becoming very challenging. I'm sure in the last 5 years itself, there's a lot of change in the way the people are expecting, right? So if you want to get some information, and if you are not getting from this room, so what is your frustration level? Maybe when we all started the career, when we went to US, people expected after 15 days some letter. Now imagine you just went to US now, and they know that you will get off by 12:15 local time. How many times you get a call from your home or WhatsApp messages, right? That means number one, the tolerance level and the patience levels have gone down tremendously because you are hyper-connected. Agree?
Agree.
The
Completely.
consumers are impatient. I want to get this information now. I want to get my job done now. I cannot wait. Otherwise, I'll move from Airtel to Aircel to Idea to whatever, right? I mean, you go and put it in social media. So it's number two, they voice out their opinions. The consumers are very impatient. They voice out their opinions in social media. Agree? This guy is this, this guy is and all. That is number two. And they are more knowledgeable than the sales guys of the company about the products and solutions. Why? In internet, you got a lot of information where sales guy also really doesn't know, oh, this is my product. Even I don't know about these things, where I can learn more about the product from the others, right? I think the purchasing decisions are mostly dependent on internet and social media conversations. It's not like I speak to Ramam, hey Ramam, I want to purchase a car. No, that era is gone, right? I go to internet and see that iPhone, whatever, 6 Plus or 7 tomorrow is coming or 10 coming, then I'll go and see the comments and take my decision, right? I think this is the era where what you are living in. And the number two, the freshness what they want is very fast. They cannot, I said impatient, right? Why all these new versions are coming? In the past, when the mobile phone was there, when we took the mobile phone first time, I think the life cycle was 36 months. Now, what is the life cycle of a mobile phone? 3 months, 2 months, 4 months, whatever, right? That implies continuous newness. That means your projects, the product life cycles are now 2 months and 3 months, from 36 months to 24 months. As a project manager, do I have that ability to embrace that change and start delivering these projects in 2 months and 3 months rather than 15 months and 18 months?
Could you tell us like 3 top things that a project manager needs to do starting today to actually embrace this change better?
Okay, the project manager's average is what? 30 plus years? 35, 30? I mean, little bit senior project manager. I'm not saying a typical IT project manager. Probably might be 28 years itself. Those days are gone, I think, now. In our era, I think maybe I become project manager just immediately after 2 years of my career in TCS. But today it's very difficult, right? So a project manager first has to understand there is a cultural mismatch between the team members and the project manager. I'm sure you heard about Gen Z or Gen Zs in US language. The age group of 20, around that, they all brought up with different skills. Yes. They brought up with gadgets, right? Yes. And this project manager is a Gen X or a Gen Y. He or she brought up with a different attitude and different cultures. There is a major mismatch between the Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Zs. If the project managers, this is all become because of this digital world. We are all hyper-connected. I am an employee or I am a team member, my patient levels are very low. We used to remember sitting in a classroom for 2 months to get trained on Oracle or SAP, but can you imagine a kid coming just to the company, expecting them to sit 2 months, 3 months in a training is impossible now. Their span of attention is 15 minutes. I think we have to change the way we deal with these young Turks, whatever you call, number one. And number two, project management is not a generalization. That's where, I mean, when we started, I think first time Gyan Lahari, one keynote speaker spoke to me, This was started by us, in fact, the Gyan Lahari, myself, Ramam, and other colleagues. Okay. That guy said, VSR, project management is a general topic. Why you guys are making too much of a noise? This is a general management. But in the digital era, that's gone. It is a highly specialization. Right? Yes. So I should understand the digital skills which are, or technological aspects which we are going to change. Right? In project management, PMBOK, you have 10 knowledge areas. In fact, I suggest there are 2 more knowledge areas needs to be added there. One is the technology management, because no project going to exist without technology. The second, the security management. Security, safety, and privacy. Because when technology is there, when you are connected, there will be a lot of challenges. The project managers have to understand if this project is basically going to be executed, the outcome of that project is a software-defined product, software-defined XYZ. That means there will be a lot of security threats will be there. So those 2 things they have to learn. And first one, I talk about the team. And third, the life cycles. The project life cycles, you have to really get a lot of understanding. First, you have to understand what is this project. What is the life cycle? I have been working in a project, then that life cycle doesn't work here. There are new activities to be added. The last one, your 10 knowledge areas as proposed by PMBOK, you have to contextualize. Yes, the knowledge areas might be same. Risk management, resource management, and all. If I'm executing a project called a baby diaper, which is digital, what is the risk management context there? The type of the risk might be different. The type of the resources might be different. And number 2, most important thing I'm talking about, the procurement management, if you look at in the PMBOK, I don't have time to sit like in a typical IT industry. One request comes, we'll come back to you. It will take 1 week, 2 weeks. Our COO has to approve with whatever the profit is there, etc. Those days are gone. By that time, one of the startup will come and complete that project. Within 3 weeks or 2 weeks, they will complete a proof of concept, right? The procurement management also needs to be looked at how fast you respond to customer requests. That means what I'm saying is you need to look at the PMBOK knowledge areas and see that how you can contextualize today's situations, right? These are all very important.
That was very useful, VSR. I also have one more question in relation to this. Now, you are a leader who would have taken many critical decisions over the course of your professional career. And there are people here today who take multiple decisions on a day-to-day life. Now, there's one thing that machines have not completely trumped us yet. It's probably decision-making. Some of it still lies with us as people. So now, today, managers are expected to be more data-driven, take more objective decisions, but they have too much information available, too many tools. So do you have any specific tips on decision-making in this disruptive digital economy? How can they take better decisions as managers?
Okay, so somebody, when I was attending one of the panel discussion, I was chairing there, one panel member said we are suffering with a drip, data rich and insight poor. There's a humongous amount of raw data is available, but we are not getting the required insight, right? Now I want to basically look at that. What is required for a project manager to be successful with this data? They need to answer 3-4 questions, right? End of the day, whatever data is available to me, whether it is in the form of a status report, whether it is in the form of my portfolio analysis dashboard, whatever, there is a lot of data is available. So I need to answer as a project manager questions like what happened? Why it happened? What will happen? If that will happen, what I need to do? In a technical terms, what people are saying today is a descriptive analytics, that is what happened, right? I should know what happened in my project. I have a lot of data coming in, structural data, unstructured data, a lot of reports, and then your project management systems. A lot of data is coming in, right? So our internal social media where people are talking about your project and all, there's a lot of data is coming in. Then can I answer a question? In the past only you took 15 to 20% of the structured data. That's why project manager always took the decisions, right? Now you have a lot of unstructured data from the reports, dashboards and all. Usually you used to read and take the decision, but now you have the technologies which can even process the data from your PPTs or Word documents and all. That's why so-called big data or whatever it is, so that you can get an answer called what happened. Technologies are mature enough to give that answer, what happened, why it happened. You can drill down. Then you can also have predictive modeling. Unfortunately, in this software, in this project management era, I always tell my team, if you as a project manager, if you are not able to predict at least for 4 weeks, if it is a small project, you don't fit to be a project manager. If you are not able to predict in the next 4 weeks what problems will be there or risks you call, then it's very difficult to become a project manager. Right now, with the technology available, with the predicting models available, the artificial intelligence and machine learning available, can I predict and say this project is going to fail? Can I go and say that in the beginning of the project itself, I'm going to get these many defects or these many snacks in the construction industry, or my budget is going to be overrun by 25%. At every moment of the time, if I answer these questions, it's not only that, my project management system should give me suggestions. If the budget is going to be overrun by 25%, my dear friend, these are all the things you can do. That's called a prescriptive analytics. So how project managers can really use the data to get this, what happened, why it happened, what will happen, if it happens, what you should do. If project management really gives that answers to you, I mean, your human effort will be reduced, right?
Yes.
We don't have such type of systems. That's why we have to use the technology to make sure the project management systems are intelligent enough to help the project managers to be successful.
Okay, thank you for that. So I think everybody is familiar with that triangle, the iron triangle of project management. Do you think that will be disrupted? Or
Triple constraint. Triple constraint.
Triple constraint, yeah.
Okay. Triple constraint will not change. You have time, cost, and scope, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the triangle like this, right? Scope is on the top. And here you have time and cost, right? We all taught from our generations, any change is there in the scope, you have to go and build the customer. Agree? Yes or no? In fact, I built my customer in Infosys when I was working, even a $100, $150, like that, I added, and I built almost $3,000, right? That's the level of change management what I have done in the past. But now that will not work. Why? In the digital era, it is foolishness to think the customer is clear about the requirements. Customer is not clear about requirements. If your boss says requirements are frozen, it is ridiculous in this today's era, because customer doesn't know what they want. Whatever the project it is, that means what? You have to reverse the triangle. When we started, the triangle is scope. If scope changes, what will happen? The time and cost changes, right? That's why we did it. Now what is that? You reverse the triangle, then what happens is, you can allow the scope changes to any extent, but the time and cost are limited.
Okay.
Within the time and cost, you are allowing the customer to come back and tell, I want this change, I want this change, I want this change. Okay, no problems, we'll absorb the change. But remember, the time and cost is fixed. That's the attitude required today. But in the past, if there is a change, you have to give me additional dollars. You have to give me additional dollars. That's the attitude. That means we never allowed change to come to us in the triple constraint in the past. But today, you have to allow the change, reverse the triangle, and time and cost are fixed, and scope can change. Change you have to absorb, but time and cost, you say that is always, I can prioritize, reprioritize, new requirements, old requirements are removed. All those things are allowed in the today's era. I think that is a major change happening in the triple constraint.
Will this be true across industries? Like, what is your feel of how different industries will change? Any insights on that?
See, every industry has the intensity different extent. But when I said every product is a software product,
yeah.
when I said a kitchen is having so much of a software,
yeah.
Then what product is not a software today? I have to system test a car today. Did you ever imagine I have to system test a car? We always talk about system testing an application, user acceptance testing of an application, software application. But today, if the software itself is a part and parcel of my product, then I think you have to really look at all these things, right?
Yes, you're right. Like even Domino's is calling itself a technology company. So I think the future, every company is a technology company.
FedEx said we are the technology company. MasterCard said we are not the payment company, we are the technology company. Every company is a technology company. If anybody doesn't understand that, I think their life cycle as a CEO is just 3 to 5 years. If any CEO thinks technology is not going to affect, I think goodbye. So another 3-5 years, that's it.
VSR, so before we close off this amazing chat that we've had with you, I want to ask, what do you do that helps you keep up to date with these changes? What are some habits that all of us here can pick up, but just to stay updated and make sure that we're ahead of the curve?
Okay, there was a company called IDZ, right? You heard about some analyst company. They interviewed me when I was in Tech Mahindra. They asked, what is social media for you? Right? What is social media for you? Then I said, the social media is for me a mentor, a guide, a coach, a guru. Right? So for example, there are some Twitter accounts are there where I follow in such a way, every day, whatever I get in Twitter is a great learning. Something comes on AR, VR, something comes on blockchain, something comes on, but what I follow matters a lot. If I follow Ram Gopal Verma, what I get is different, right? If I follow something good, what I get is different, right? Yes. So I think the Twitter is a very important element. For you to get up-to-date information on different technologies, you have to follow the right people or right organizations.
The right influencers.
And YouTube, right? And then you have SlideShare, right? Any topic you want in today, you don't need to really depend on others, very honest. But you need to have an interest. Maybe this year, for me, if you ask me, my personal agenda is AA, ML, AR, VR, blockchain. Okay. In those 6 or 5 areas, I have to acquire some knowledge. I'm not a technology guy, but I should understand how the technology is going to change the businesses, the personal lives, our society. To that extent, I have to understand. Yes, to that extent, every year, I have some focus areas. That's why I said the SMAC era is over. Social, mobility, analytics, cloud. I said the MAB era is started. What is that? Mixed reality, virtual reality, and augmented reality. That is M, right? And A is what? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. And A is algorithms. Whatever I said, I give life to the things means there is a virtual brain required for that, right thing? The virtual brain is nothing but algorithms, right? And the B is a blockchain, right? Yeah. So the MAB era started, so that means the people have to understand now what new projects will emerge, SMAC plus MAB, and that's where the digital, how it is going to change. What is my role as a project manager to make sure what new types of projects are coming in, and how this planning, initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, everything will change, context-wise.
Yes. So all of you should get on Twitter and follow VSR today itself, so you can at least learn what he knows. Thank you so much, VSR. It was a wonderful honor for me to have this conversation with you, and I'm sure it is very useful for everybody, as it has been for me. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.